I was telling that, say Hyderabad is using different absences, different leaves, and Bangalore other things, you have to group them separately. And then we need to define absence or attendance types. Like I said, Hyderabad would be using casual leave sick leave, where Bangalore would be using only sick leave. So I created sick leave for 02 and sick leave casual leave for 01, since I have taken Hyderabad as 01. And then I said we need to define the entry screens and time constraint classes. That means to tell the system whether an absence should have a deduction in place or should not have. Like for example, if you take casual leave or sick leave, you will be having entitlement, whereas loss of pay will not have any entitlement, or doctor's appointment as such will not have any entitlement. So for such things, you need to assign the screen as 2001, which has the quota deduction, 2000 for things which don't have quota deduction. And then I said attendances would also have two screens, 2050 and 2051. 2050 would be for the attendances which have quota deduction, 51 which don't have quota deductions. And time constraint class, as I said, if you have an absence type taken as time constraint class 1, on that day you can have one more absence type taken. And then I was talking about next the PSA and ESG groupings for quotas. That means if your customer tells for only certain locations I give certain entitlements, for certain locations I don't give, then group them separately and we have to create separately. And then same way, if they say for certain grades I will give certain entitlements, for certain other grades I don't give. So group them separately and put the entitlement for those who should get and put the entitlement for those who should not get. And then I said we have to create absence quota types. So yesterday, if you remember, I created sick leave quota, casual leave quota for the respective groupings. And then I said rounding rule, which is used to round the fraction of absences. If you have anything like half a day between full day taken, then count it as one full day. Then you use rounding rule. Deduction rule, I said, would be used to mention the quota which has to be deducted. So these were the things which we learned yesterday. Today I am going to the next concept and important and which has a crux role to play. This would be the important thing, guys. Counting rule. What is counting rule? Used to specify conditions to the system whether an attendance or absence when utilized have to be counted or not counted. That is what is a counting rule. Now say if you take in Indian scenarios, many companies will be telling if a person is taking leave, by any chance if it falls on a weekend, then don't count it, or else some other leave type they will tell count it. In such case, how do you tell the system to count? Rather than you manually doing the counting, not counting, you can make your system to count by using counting rule. By using a counting rule, you can specify the conditions. Like say for example, if a person takes leave on Friday, Saturday, Sunday and Monday. Now your customer said, hey boss, please count only Friday and Monday. Don't count Saturday, Sunday because they are weekly offs. So how do you tell the system not to count? Or else, if the company tells a person is taking leave from August 14th to 15th and 16th, then they said count only August 14th and August 16th, but don't count August 15th. Why? Because however that is a holiday, so don't count. Only 2 days have to be counted. So like this, if you want to make your system to count or not count the leaves, that would be made possible by using counting rule. The very term tells counting rule, which is used to count. Here. Now you need to create how many counting rules your customer wants. Say if they say different counting for casual, I'll create casual counting rule. If they say different counting for sick, I'll create sick counting rule. Like this, you have to create how many counting rules your customer wants. And when you create a counting rule, there are so many conditions which you can use. First one, guys, conditions on weekday. So why is this used, conditions on weekday? To tell the system when a leave taken on a weekday should be counted or not counted. So here you will be having the options like Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday and Sunday. There will be boxes. If they say count when the leave is taken on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, then I will tick those boxes. That means if I tick a relevant box, system will know that it has to be counted. If I untick a box, system knows that it should not be counted. So whether to count it or not, how do you tell the system? By using tick box. If it has to be counted, you say to be counted. If it is not to be counted, you say not to be counted. How? I will show you. When I show you the configuration, I will give you a part. But now to make you people understand, I will just show you that screen. So if I select any one counting rule, guys, it looks like this. See, first I am telling condition on weekday. If your customer tells, boss, when this leave is taken, don't count it if it is taken on Sunday. Then what will I do? I will go to Sunday box and untick that. Now, if I have any person taking leave which falls on a Sunday, system will not count it. If they say don't count on Saturday also, I'll leave this. So that means if leave taken on Friday, Wednesday, Thursday, Tuesday, Monday, system will count. Why? Because they are ticked. If they say count them for Saturday, Sunday also, I need to tick them like this. Are you understand? Just understand one basic principle. If you tick a relevant box, system knows that it has to be counted. If you leave a box blank, system knows that it should not be counted. So this is the first condition on weekday. Then they have provided a condition on holiday class. What is this condition on holiday class? Whether a leave taken on a holiday should be counted or not. Now, as I said a while back, August 14th, August 15th and August 16th a person is taking leave. August 15th is a holiday, so your company tells, as per my company's policy, person should be counted and deducted with only 2 days leave. So that means 14th and 16th but not 15th. Now, do you think that August 15th always falls on the same weekday, Monday or Tuesday or Wednesday or Thursday? No, it is not a Good Friday to fall always on a Friday. Now, our August 15th can fall on any day of the week. So, I cannot set up condition on weekdays. I have to set up condition on holiday class. How many holiday classes we learned? There are 10 holiday classes. 0 or blank denotes no holiday. 1 denotes full day holiday. 2 denotes half day holiday. 3 to 9 are customer specific. Now to August 15th, what will I assign the holiday class? 1 is what I assign. If the customer tells don't count on a holiday, I will untick this. That means holiday class 1 means full day holiday. So since I am not ticking here, my system will not count it. If I tick it here, my system will count it. So according to your customer's requirement, you have to tick and untick the relevant holiday class box. There will be another condition called as day type. When is this day type used? If your customer tells, if a person is taking leave, if it falls on a day which is off as well paid, count it. If it is off but unpaid, don't count it. So how do I know whether a day is paid or not? We learned that there is a concept called as day type. How many day types we learned? 10. 0 to 9. 0 denotes work and paid. 1 denotes off and paid. 2 denotes off and unpaid. And 3 to 9 are customer specific. Now, since they are telling that if a leave is taken on and off which is paid, it has to be counted. You have to tick this box. If they say leave taken on off unpaid should not be counted, leave this as usual blank. Why? Because day type 2 is off and unpaid. Since they don't want, I will untick that. So like this, if the condition is on day types, you come here. If the condition is holiday class, go here. If the condition on weekdays, go here. There are some other things also here. What is the condition on period work schedule, condition on daily work schedule class? What is this period work schedule? If your customer tells, very rarely this is used, not regularly used. So if your customer tells, hey boss, if a person from noon pattern is taking a leave, don't count it. Person taking leave from a morning shift pattern, you count it. So what will I do? I'll put that period work schedule into one class, this period work schedule into another class. So I'll put for morning people 1, for noon people 2. Now what is that they are telling? For noon people it should not be counted. I will untick this. That means it will not be counted for noon people. When will you use daily work schedule class? We already learned that daily work schedule class is used to denote whether a shift is a working shift or a non-working shift. If your customer tells it has to be counted if it is taken on a working shift and it should not be counted if it is taken on a non-working shift, what will I do? I will do here. Daily work schedule class 0 denotes non-working shift. If they say don't count, I will untick this. If they say no, count for non-working shift also, tick this. And we learn planned working hours. That means here if it is equal to 0, that means off. Greater than means 0 means working. If they say don't count for a day where working hours are 0, leave this blank. If they say count, tick this. And for absence attendance type, like if a person is taking less than 1 full day, don't count. That means you untick this. If he is taking full day, then only count. Then you tick this. And after that, we will be calling other rules. How to configure this, I will be showing later. But you understood why counting rule is used? Counting rule is used to specify the conditions to the system, whether an absence or attendance when availed by the employee must be counted or not counted. So we have conditions on weekday and we have learned conditions on holiday class, condition on day types, condition on period work schedule class, condition on daily work schedule class, condition on planned hours, condition on absence or attendance type. These many conditions we have seen here. See, absence or attendance, planned hours, daily work schedule class, period work schedule class, day type, holiday class, and weekdays. Which one to be used, which one not to be used among these would be the decision to be taken on the requirement of your customer.
Venkat, I have a question here. Some organizations follow the rule that if a person takes a leave on Friday as well as on Monday, then the weekend should be counted. Let's say if a person is taking leave on Friday and the subsequent Monday, then we will be counting the Saturday and Sunday.
4 days.
In
4
that,
days that will be.
yeah, 4 days. In that case, how do we select the conditions on weekday?
Correct. You need to go here and select all. Saturday,
All.
Sunday also to be picked. In that case, what happens? My system counts for every day.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah. So now here, what is condition on weekday? I'll just make a note for your understanding. This is used to denote whether an absence or attendance when taken on a particular weekday has to be counted or not. That is what is this. What is holiday class? This is used to denote whether taken on a holiday has to be counted or not. This is used to denote whether taken on a day paid or a day unpaid to be counted or not. How about period work schedule class? This is used to denote whether people from a period work schedule when availed an absence should be counted or not. Okay. Then on a particular X number of planned hours to be counted or not. In simple language I am putting this. This is used to denote whether a fraction of absence or full day is counted or not. This is what we have. These are all the conditions. Upon your requirement, you have to select. And important note is that if the relevant box in a particular condition is ticked, comma, system assumes that it has to be counted. Counted. And if left blank, the same will not be counted. This is the crux, guys. You should remember this all the time. That is what I was showing here. If a box is ticked, it will count. If unticked, it will not count. Now, whether to tick or not to tick, you should understand from your customer's requirement. You have to ask them, boss, in your company, how many leaves are there? Do you have different conditions when people are availing these leaves for counting? For example, if a person takes a leave on Saturday or Sunday, should it be counted or not? Same way, you should ask if a person taken leave on a holiday should be counted or not. Why? Because your customers don't know how things are positioned in SAP. It is we people who know how solutions are set up in SAP. So accordingly, we have to ask questions to them so that they give the answers how we want, and it makes our life very easy to set up the solutions. That is what I am putting. Clear, guys? Accounting rule. Why is it used? The very name tells counting. Now, if you just create the rules, is it not done, guys? Linking is very important. Now I will tell. Mere creation of above mentioned elements will not serve the purpose. All the elements must be linked as per SAP rules to make system perform things automatically. The linking goes in the below mentioned way. Good. So what am I telling, guys? If you just create absence, quota, counting rule, deduction rule, rounding rule, it is not done. You have to link them. How to link them? I will tell you. I created, say, one absence type. Now that has to be linked to counting rule. Counting rule should have rounding rule and then deduction rule, finally which calls absence quota. This is how it has to go. So always an absence type should be linked to a counting rule, and then a counting rule must be linked to rounding rule, deduction rule. These both are called into counting rule, and absence quota is called into deduction rule. That's how the linking goes. That means an absence type is linked to a quota by using three rules. Crux is this one, counting rule. So how it goes? Respective counting rule has to be assigned to the relevant absence type. Counting rule must have the related rounding rule and deduction rule called. That means both deduction and rounding rule goes to counting rule, and then deduction rule must call the relevant absence quota type. This is the linking guys. This you need to always by heart or remember. They'll ask questions in the interview. Hey, can you tell me how an absence is linked to an absence quota in SAP? You need to tell boss, first of all, we will have an absence type assigned with a counting rule. Into the counting rule, we will be calling a deduction rule, rounding rule, and into deduction rule, we will be calling a quota type. That's how it is linked. Understood? Yeah.
Yeah, Venkat.
Yep. So now guys, make a note of the part very carefully. Why? Because things what you have learned till now are different. Things what we are going to learn now will be totally different. A bit confusing and a bit complicated in nature. And if you are not in a position to do exercises every day, it would be very difficult for you. So what I would suggest is make a note very carefully and practice things on that day itself. Why? Because tomorrow when I go to the next concept, if you are not working with other concepts, then you are stuck. Without completing yesterday's concepts, you cannot go to tomorrow's concepts in time management. Okay. Now make a note of the path. Go to SPRO. And then to time management. Time data recording and administration. And then to absences. See guys, if you want absences, you have to come here. If you want to create attendances, you have to go here. Process is same. So let us go to absences. Under that, absence catalog. And then group personnel subareas for attendances and absences. For any country, process is same. Depending upon the country, what you take here, you get all personnel areas, sub areas assigned to that country. No need to create your personnel areas, sub areas here. Whatever we have created earlier would come up here. But as I said, even now you go ahead with 1300 only. When we go to payroll module, I will make you people to understand how to do things for your entries, and you can again redo the entire exercises once again, which would be a very good practice for you. As of now, what I will do is I will take my location. If my customer tells for Hyderabad, both the locations, it is same process, I will put 010 and save. That means you are telling the system how locations should be considered for the purpose of absences, how they have to be grouped. If they say two locations different, I'll put two groupings. If they say both locations follow same policy, I'll put one grouping. But a grouping is must. Whether one or different, your processes will guide. After saving, come back. And then go to define absence types. I'm going here. Now, I need to create a leave type here. There are so many leaves given by SAP like this. If you want, you can use them. If not, you have to create your own. How to create? Select any one and copy. Now here you have to give the grouping. That means for which locations you are creating. Earlier step, what grouping I have taken? 0, 1. So I have to put here 0, 1. If I have taken there 0, 2, I have to put here 0, 2. That means for that location grouping I am creating the below absence type is what I am telling the system. Now people what they do, in the earlier step they will take one grouping, here they will take some other grouping and they will face errors. Make sure that you should maintain the consistency everywhere or else you will never get your result right. So be a bit cautious enough. Now give a code for your absence. Say I will tell CABS. I'll give the text as casual absence type. Give the validity period from when to when this entry is valid. You can give anything you want, there is no harm. Now what is this first day is off? What your system should do? If the first day is off, should it give an error message or warning message? You have to tell it here. Now say for example, one person is taking leave from 15th of August to 17th of August. What is first day of leave? 15th of August. What is that? It is a day off. How should your system react? Whether it should give an error message that you should not create a leave record, or should it give a warning message so that you can move ahead, or should it give an information message? You have to control it here. So by default there will be warning messages. So system will give however you want. Same way, first day off, last day is off, non-working period. What is last day is off? Person going from 14th to 15th of August. If your customer tells, no, I don't allow like that. So what you need to do? You have to create only from 14th to 14th. So whether your system should give an error message or warning message, you control it here. What is non-working period? Say a person is going from 14th to 16th of August. If you put E here, you cannot create a leave record from 14th to 16th. How you have to create? 14th to 14th one record, then 16th to 16th another record. If they say no problem, allow by just giving a warning, I will put W here. So according to your customer's requirement, you have to put either E or W here. And what is this minimum duration, maximum duration? At a time, how many leaves a person can avail of this nature? If your customer tells minimum 1 day, maximum 10 days, you put here 1 and put 10 here. If they say only 3 days, you put 1 here, 3 here. So how many minimum and maximum days allowed is what we need to mention here. And then save. So now my absence type is configured. Like this, create as many absence types as your customer wants. Once the absence types are created, click on back, come to the same screen. Now go to this node guys. Make a note, determine entry screens and time constraint classes. What do I do here? I need to search for my absence type which I created in the earlier step and set the entry screens. How to search? As I said earlier, go to position. What is my PS grouping guys? What I have taken the grouping?
0, 1.
0, 1. I'll put 0, 1. What is the name of my absence? CABS. Press enter. You find the entry here. You need not create again and again. You create only once. System will copy it to any screen wherever needed. That way our work is reduced. Select this. Go to details. Now here not every field is important. Very important fields we will learn. First one is attendance or absence indicator. So what you need to put here, tell the system whether it is an attendance or absence. How to tell? If it is P, it is for attendance. If you put A, it is for absence. Already my system has put A. Why? I copied this from an absence. That's why it is putting A. And see the entry screen. 2000 is there already. Now what did I say? 2001 is for quota deduction. 2000 is no quota deduction. For attendances, 2050 is quota deduction. 51 is no quota deduction. I want my casual leave to have quota deduction. So I will leave it as 2000. If they say no, you put it as 2000. And time constraint class has to be assigned here. Whether only one record is allowed or multiple records allowed. If only one record is allowed, you put 1. If multiple records are allowed, put 3. This is something which we learned earlier in PA module, time constraint classes. Same thing here. And then save. Back. So I did my groupings. I created my absence. I have designed my entry screens. After that, go to this. Define counting classes for the period work schedule. What is this? In counting rule, we had one condition for period work schedule class. Do you remember here I gave this one. So I am assigning counting class to my period work schedules here. Already I created one period work schedule the other day. Do you remember GENP? You maintain that entry here. How to maintain? Go to new entries. What is my grouping I have taken? There also I have taken 0, 1. I maintain my groupings consistent everywhere so that it makes my life easy. So please you also follow the same thing. Then give your period work schedule. What is my period work schedule I created that I say GMP, or else you can get it through the drop down list also. This is mine. See what I created the earlier day. And put a counting class. See, you say 1. They are telling they want this. Okay. Now if they say I have a morning shift, those people should be counted in a different way. What will I do? I will take 0, 1 morning and put 2 here. Why? They are counted differently. If they say no, every shift same way, put the same grouping for every shift pattern. So that is what I need to do here. Save. Your period work schedule is what you need to call here, guys. Just read this period work schedule. So I am calling GEMP. Once done, back. So I completed 4 steps: PSA grouping, absence type, entry screens, and counting class. Now you need to go to this step, managing time accounts using attendance or absence quotas. Now I have to go to setting groupings for time quotas. And then I have to go to group employee subgroups for time quotas. Call your country grouping. I have to group my ESGs now for quotas purpose. Now here if they say my managers should get same entitlements, I'll put 1, 1. If they say no more senior manager different, junior manager different, so what will I do? I'll put 1 and 2. And when I create quotas, I have to create for these groupings. So that means how am I grouping my grades for the purpose of quotas is I am telling my system. If every grade has to be grouped same way, put same grouping. If a grade has to be taken differently, put a different grouping. And then save. Same way you need to go to group personnel subareas for time quotas. Same way, if every location should get same quota, I need to put 01 and 01. Now you can ask me what is the difference between first 01 grouping and what is the difference between this 01 grouping. Guys, remember, this is PSA grouping for time quota type. Whereas this one was only for attendance or absence type. 2001 info type grouping is this. 2006 info type grouping is this. Now, for this grouping, I created 2001 info type entries. For this grouping, I have to create 2006 info type entries. Where to do that? Next, go to time quota types. Under that, go to define absence quota types. Here you have to create the quota. How to create? Select anyone and copy, or you can create your own. It's up to you. Give the ESG grouping for quota. What did I take my ESG grouping? 1. Put the same grouping. What is my PS grouping? I have to take 01 because I have taken 01. Give a number for your quota. I'll put, say, for example, 55 and give a text. Casual absence quota. How do you want to put the quota, in hours or days? You select the one. Say I want days. Time constraint class 01. That means at a time you can have only one entitlement to the quota. So put it as 01. Negative deduction too. Not very much used, but I'll just explain you because in some cases it would be used. Guys, are you aware of overdraft facility in the banks? Hello?
Yes. Yes.
Overdraft, you know, right? What does it mean? Say for example, even if I don't have more amount, still I can withdraw amount. Say that means, for example, I have initially deposited 1 lakh and due to my credit worthiness, bank said you can withdraw 50,000 more also. That means overdraft. That means over my balance I can withdraw 50,000 more. Say I have withdrawn 1,50,000 and next time when I put 2 lakhs, how much will I be having? I'll be having only 1,50,000 net balance. Why? Whatever 50,000 more I have taken will be first deducted and then I'll be having remaining balance. Something similar here also. If I tell my employee 10 days is your entitlement for every year. Say one person has got all 10 days use but still looking for 2 days leave because it was a genuine case. Then if my company has a policy to make my employees utilize next year's leave also in this year for a maximum of 2 days, I'll put here 2. That means negative deduction to 2 permitted. If the company tells, no, I don't allow. If this year I have given 10 days, only 10 days the person can utilize. It is his call or her call to plan. Then I will leave this blank. If they say negative deduction possible, ask them how many days and put that number here. Clear? Hello? Yes. Are you following?
Yes,
Yeah.
Yeah. Then the last one, what is this one? Whether your quota has to get some compensation or not can be told to your system here. If it is not to be compensated, tick this. If it is to be compensated, you untick this. And then save. Press enter. Save it. Now I have got my quota 55 created. So guys, what did I do? I created my absence CABS and I created my quota 55. How do I tell my system if I take this leave, it has to be deducted from this quota? By using my 3 rules: rounding, counting, deduction. Rounding is not mandatory, but deduction and counting is mandatory. But still I show you how to create rounding rule also. Back. Where to create these rules? Go on to top. Now guys, go to rules for absence counting, new. I'm sorry, I'm already there. Here, rules for absence counting, new, and then go to define counting rules. Here to your left hand side you will find counting rule, deduction rule for absence quota, deduction rule for attendance quota. If you are using attendance, you need to come to this or else ignore, and then you have rounding rule. So let us first create rounding rule, then go to deduction rule, then go to counting rule. So if you want to create rounding rule, guys, go to rounding rule and double click on it. You get all rounding rules here. Now you select any one rule and copy. You give a name for it. I'll tell CR, casual rounding rule. Lower limit. If your customer tells, if a person is taking leave between half day and full day, round it as one full day. So now what will I do? Under lower limit I will put 0.5 and upper limit I will put 1. Target limit I will put 1. That means if a person takes between half day and one full day, system takes it as one full day. So like that you can set up your rounding rule. Clear? What is this last box? Roll. If they say 1.5 to 2 is 2, 2.5 to 3 is 3, need not create again 1.5 to 2, 2.5 to 3. How many will you create like that? You just tick this box. If you tick this box, system rolls with equal intervals. If you leave that box, only this interval it is permitted. So that is what is this roll box importance. Save it.
Venkat, what
Just
does
press enter.
this the checkbox indicates in between the lower limit and the upper limit?
Inclusion. That means it
Inclusion
has to be
between
included
0.5 to
into
1.
this range. Yes.
Okay.
Press enter. Save it. So like this you have to create a rounding rule if needed. If not needed, it's not mandatory, guys. Then after creating a rounding rule, you have to go to your left hand side and select deduction rule for absence quotas. And now you create a deduction rule. How to create it? Select any one and copy. What is my system asking here? ESG grouping for time quotas. What I have taken? 1. Earlier I have taken 1, right? I have to take that here. And then PSA grouping, what I have taken? 0, 1. So take here 0, 1. If you have taken some other entry to copy, you have to change them. Since I have taken 1, 0, 1, I need not. Deduction rule. Put a code for your deduction rule. So I'll put 555 for my reference. And I'll name it as casual deduction rule. How do you want to have your quotas measured, in hours or days? I'll take it days. Earlier in quota when I have taken days, here also I have to take days. If you have a discrepancy, you are gone. Always it should be same, guys. And then call here the quota. That means what is my quota? I just created 55, right? I'll call that. So that means, see, my deduction rule is calling my quota. Save it. That is what I said here. Deduction rule must call the relevant absence quota type. That is what I am doing in my this thing. See, deduction rule 555 is calling my quota 55. Now, what I have to do last, I have to create counting rule. I have to create counting rule here. Go to counting rule, select any one rule, copy. Now, you need to put here ESG grouping for quotas. What is mine? 1. PSA grouping for quotas also 0. Then put a counting rule, a name, whichever you want to give for your counting rule. I'll give counting rule also same name. I'll tell it is casual counting rule. Here, as I have explained, this is the same screen. If your customer tells, don't count it if it is taken on Sunday, I'll enter this. If they say, if it is taken on a holiday, don't count it. Right, I am ticking only not a public holiday. That means if it is taken on a day which is not a public holiday, you count. Then day types. Whichever you want, you have to tick. Whichever you don't want, you have to untick. And then you have to select counting classes. Better tick all the counting classes for period work schedule. Daily work schedule class, if they say, if it is taken on a non-working shift, don't count. What is non-working shift? Daily work schedule class 0. I will enter. If they say no, but it has to be counted, to tick it. So that means these are not standard anywhere. Don't think that the solution here will be standard. You need to understand their process and tick the relevant box or untick the relevant box. Then if they say, if the planned working hours are 0 on a day and if a person takes leave, don't count it. So I have to leave it blank. And they said if it is greater than 0, you count it. That means a working day, you count it. Here I am telling half day also counted, full day also counted. Then coming down, under days, you have to call your rounding rule. What is my rounding rule? Mine is CR. This is the one. Then next, call the deduction rule. Mine is absence quotas. So come to absence quotas. What is your deduction rule? I created a while back 555. Call that. Press enter. Save it. So like this, I have to create my counting rule. As I said, see here, counting rule must have the related rounding rule and deduction rule called. That is what I am doing. In my counting rule, I am calling my rounding rule and I am calling my deduction rule. If you miss these two, everything will go for a toss. My system doesn't know what to do after counting. After counting here, it should round by using this, then it should deduct by using this. From where? From the quota. Why? Already quota is called into deduction rule. Save it. Then final step is this one. Assign counting rules to absence types. Why I have to do this? Because here, as I said here, respective counting rule has to be assigned to the relevant absence type. That is what I have to do now. Get into this. What is your absence? You already created, that's why no new entries. Call it. What is your PS grouping you have been taking? 0, 1. What is your absence? CABS. That's one. Here you have to call a counting rule. What is my counting rule? 555. Call that save it. This completes the linking. That means whenever a person takes casual leave, system goes to 555 counting rule to know whether it has to be counted or not to be counted. So that where will it come to know? Here. There is 555 here. It comes here. Checks whether it has to be counted or not. After that, it has to round by using CR. It has to deduct by using 555. What is CR? My rounding rule. It comes here. Where is CR? Here. Then it checks whether a person has taken half day or 1 full day. Then it will round it to 1 full day. Then again comes back to counting rule. After counting, after rounding, what will it do? It will call 555 deduction rule. Where is deduction rule 555? Here. Okay. Then it goes to this. What is that they are doing? They are telling here this should be deducted from 55 quota. So system deducts it from 55 quota. See guys, rather than a human being counting, rounding, deducting from quota, your system will do that for you if you maintain the things properly. How this works will be seen. I'm just now setting up the solution. Clear? The very approach. All these things.
Yes.
It will be a little bit confusing until unless you do on it twice, thrice or 4 times, you cannot understand it guys. Just by listening or just by seeing, you will not get it. So even I too don't expect that you have to be expert just at one listening or one doing. I am telling on my own right. It will take minimum 2 or 3 times for a person to understand. You need to go to each and every node and see what am I doing, why is this meant for. For your understanding, I am putting here which rule has to be called into what. Clear, everybody? And don't think the solutioning is completed. Still there are some concepts which have to be put. I am just telling if a leave taken from which quota is to be, it has to be deducted, counted. But did I tell which leave should get how many days entitlement? No. For that we have to use some other rules. What are those rules? I will be talking tomorrow. Why? Because those rules are different altogether. I will explain them and I will show them how to configure tomorrow. Then I will show you one complete scenario. That means I will generate quota for an employee. I will take a leave for that employee. Then we will see system counting or not counting according to my counting rule, and then rounding and deducting from my quota automatically rather than me doing it. Total scenario will be seen. When you see the complete scenario, things will be even more clear. But as of now, just read this. Today there is nothing for you people to do. It is after me completing the complete configuration and running the things, I will give you one assignment like this. Okay guys? So I will just send it now to you guys. Okay? So let us meet tomorrow guys.
Sure.
Yep. Sure then. Have a good day.
Thank you.
Yep. Bye. Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.